So picture this, you just saved the world, the golden avatar of Akatosh roars triumphant over the ruins of the Imperial City, Mehrunes Dagon is banished, the Oblivion crisis is over, and you're the hero. But here's what they didn't tell you. That wasn't a victory. It was a divine coup. The dragon god of time just locked every mortal soul in a cosmic prison. And 200 years later, you become the key to break us out. What if I told you the main quests of Oblivion and Skyrim aren't just back-to-back stories, but two halves of the same cosmic war? A war between the fundamental forces that created reality itself. And with every choice you made, you were picking a side in a conflict older than time. Now, before we begin, I just want to say this video was born from the amazing ideas you all left in the comments last time, so keep them coming. Drop your thoughts below, hit like, subscribe, because together we're uncovering the secret war the gods don't want you to know about. Let me take you back to the moment everything changed. When Martin Septim shattered the Amulet of Kings, he didn't just save the world, he fundamentally rewrote the rules of existence. The old covenant where mortals and gods worked together was dead, and in its place, an unbreakable divine wall. We went from partners to prisoners in a single roaring moment.
This is the 27th of Last Seed, the year of Akatosh 433. These are the closing days of the Third Era and the final hours of my life.
We need to understand what really happened in that Temple of the One. For millennia, the stability of our world depended on a deal, a covenant between Akatosh and Saint Alessia. The dragon fires lit by a Dragonborn empire kept the barrier strong. It was a partnership, mortals maintaining the cosmic order alongside the gods. But when Emperor Uriel Septim VII died, when his bloodline ended, the ancient machinery broke down completely. The dragonfires went dark for the first time in centuries, the covenant was shattered, and Mehrunes Dagon saw his chance.
The old rules no longer apply. Kvatch is only the beginning of what Mehrunes Dagon will do. If the amulet is truly the key to restoring the barriers between our world and Oblivion, you must waste no time in recovering it.
Here is where it gets interesting. Martin Septim's transformation wasn't just desperation, this was calculated. As we'll see in a moment when he says the dragon waits, he isn't talking about some vague prophecy.
I do what I must do. I cannot stay to rebuild Tamriel. That task falls to others. Farewell. You've been a good friend in the short time that I've known you, but now I must go. The dragon waits.
He's describing a god who'd been planning this moment. Akatosh didn't just show up to save us, he showed up to seize control. Think about what actually happened. A god manifested raw, overwhelming power to physically assault and banish a Daedric prince. This was a statement of absolute authority, and when the battle ended, the avatar didn't vanish, it turned to stone. Permanent, immovable, a divine seal that would never need mortal hands to maintain it again. The old covenant required trust. It needed mortals to keep their end of the bargain, but mortals failed. We proved we couldn't be trusted with that responsibility. So Akatosh eliminated us from the equation entirely. No more Dragonborn emperors, no more dragonfires, just an eternal, unchanging barrier maintained by divine will alone. This is textbook Anuic thinking. Anu represents stasis, order, unchanging perfection, and Akatosh, as the purest expression of Anuic force, just imposed the ultimate static system, a world locked in divine amber, protected but imprisoned, safe but stagnant. The implications are staggering. We're no longer just participants in our own cosmic defense. We're subjects under divine protection whether we want it or not. And for 200 years, that's exactly how things stayed.
Martin is dead, but he died an emperor and a hero to rival Tiber Septim. This victory is not without cost. We've lost Martin Septim. What an emperor he might have made. His sacrifice was necessary, but it leaves the Empire without an emperor. I don't know what happens now. There are troubled times ahead for the Empire.
The real question is, what happens when even perfect order starts eating itself? 2 centuries pass, the empire crumbles, the provinces fracture, and then Alduin returns.
Salakundir, Zil Grotova Ulsa, Volnusai Dovakin, Su'u, Korav Nin no Dove to high.
But here's what doesn't really make sense to me. Alduin is Akatosh's firstborn, the World Eater. His job is to end each cycle of time so the next can begin. That's his purpose. So why is Daddy's favorite son suddenly playing tyrant? Because Alduin looked at his father's new world order and decided to one-up it. If Akatosh could lock the world in stasis, why couldn't Alduin lock it under his rule forever? No more cycles, no more endings and beginnings, just eternal dragon dominion with him as God King.
Alduin was once the crown of our father Akatosh's creation. Alduin had flown far from the path of right action in his Pachlok, in the arrogance of his power. But I cannot celebrate his fall. Zutiraz ach ochma. He was my brother once. This world will never be the same.
This is order turned cancerous. Alduin perverted his own nature, trying to create a tyranny that would never end. And here's the cosmic joke. Akatosh couldn't stop him. To act against ultimate stasis would be to act against his own nature. The dragon god of time was paralyzed by his own philosophical consistency.
I wonder that the Greybeards even notice what's going on down here. They haven't seemed to care before.
Just think about that. The god who locked us in a cage to protect us can't protect us from his own son. The perfect system has a perfect vulnerability, and into that vulnerability steps a force that has been waiting, planning, preparing for exactly this moment.
Yes, Alduin, Zemach, the elder brother, gifted, grasping, and troublesome, as is so often the case with firstborn.
While Akatosh represents order, stasis, and unchanging law, there's another force in the universe. Padome, chaos, change, and possibility. And Padome has a champion too, a god who gave everything to create our world, and a god whose heart was torn out and shot into the sky. A god the Nords call Shor, but you might know by another name, Lorkhan, the missing god. The architect of mortality itself. And his answer to Akatosh's prison? You. Bold prediction time. How many of you chose to spare Parthenax in your first playthrough? Drop a comment. I bet it's most of you, and there's a cosmic reason why. Let me tell you about the greatest divine middle finger in cosmic history. Lorkhan is dead. Sort of. His heart was ripped out, his body torn apart, his divine essence shattered. But here's the thing about the god of mortals. He doesn't need to be alive to be active. He works through avatars, champions, what the Nords call Caesarines. And these aren't just heroes, they're living expressions of human ambition and change. Pelinal Whitestrake, who carved a bloody path through the Eyelid Empire, Ismir Wolfhearth, who taught men to shout, Tiber Septim, who conquered the world and became a god. Noticing a pattern? They all show up when humanity needs them most. They all bring radical, violent change, and they all carry a piece of Lorkhan's spirit. Now, Lorkhan sees Akatosh's new world order. He sees Alduin betraying, creating a crack in the system, and he makes a move so brilliant, it's almost insulting. He creates the Last Dragonborn. But this isn't just another Caesarine. This is a deliberate paradox, a being with the soul of a dragon, Akatosh's own power, but the heart of a mortal champion. It's Lorkhan wearing Akatosh's own authority like a stolen crown, a Trojan horse made out of divine contradiction. Just think about what this means. After Oblivion, the world operates on dragon logic, dragon rules, dragon authority. A purely Padomaic champion, a simple agent of chaos, would be an outsider, a rebel without legitimacy. But a Dragonborn? They belong in this system.
I can't believe it. You're Dragonborn. In the very oldest tales, back from when there were still dragons in Skyrim, the Dragonborn would slay dragons and steal their power. That's what you did, isn't it? Absorb the dragon's power.
They have the right to challenge Alduin. They speak the language of power that this new world understands. The Greybeards immediately recognize you.
When you shout, you speak in the language of dragons. Thus, your dragon blood gives you an inborn ability to learn words of power.
Why? Because you carry divine authority they can't deny. You can sit on Shor's throne in Shovengard, because you are Shor's avatar. You can learn shouts from the word walls instantly while others study for years, because you're playing both sides of the cosmic game simultaneously. We need to talk about Shovengard, because what happens there isn't a boss fight. This is divine succession. You arrive in the Nordic afterlife to find Shor's Hall shrouded in mist. Inside, heroes feast and fight, waiting for the final battle. But Shor's throne is empty. The god is missing from his own paradise. Or is he? Walk up to that throne. Sit in it. The game lets you. No consequences, no pushback. In a realm where symbolism is reality, you just claimed the seat of a god. And no one stops you. And this is crucial. You have every right to be there. The ancient heroes who've waited for centuries for Shor's command, they immediately follow you into battle. They break their god's direct orders to wait because your will supersedes his previous commands, because your will is his now. You're not visiting Shovengard, you're coming home.
By Shor's command we sheathed our blades, and ventured not the Vale's dark mist. But three await your word to loose their fury upon the perilous foe.
At long last, Alduin's doom is now ours to seal. Just speak the word, and with high hearts, we'll hasten forth to smite the worm wherever he lurks.
When you defeat Alduin, you're not just some mortal who got lucky. You're Lorkhan's avatar wearing Akatosh's power as a disguise, using the dragon god's own strength against his firstborn. It's mythic identity theft on a cosmic scale. And here's the kicker, everyone knows it. The Greybeards teach you meditation and pacifism, Kyne's philosophy, and Kyne is Shor's wife.
I feel younger than I have in many an age. Many of the Dovahe are now scattered across Kizal. Without Alduin's lordship, they may yet bow to the Vasen, rightness of my Thum. But willing or no, they will hear it.
The Blades demand you kill Paarthurnax, enforcing the old rigid dragon killer doctrine.
He helped Alduin enslave our ancestors. He may have betrayed Alduin in the end. We can't afford to give Paarthurnax the opportunity to betray us in turn and return to his old master.
These aren't just faction choices. They're asking you to pick a side in the fundamental conflict of reality, change or stasis, growth or order, becoming or being. Every single choice in Skyrim is this choice, dressed up in different clothes. The Skyrim Civil War isn't about politics. The Thalmor's ban on Talos worship isn't about religion. These are proxy battles in the Cosmic War, and most people fighting them don't even know it.
Damn you Stormcloaks. Skyrim was fine until you came along.
You started this war, plunged Skyrim into chaos, and now the Empire is going to put you down and restore the peace.
Let's talk about what Talos really represents. A mortal man who achieved godhood through violence, conquest, and will. His very existence proves Lorkhan was right, that Mundus isn't a prison, but a forge where mortals can become divine. Every prayer to Talos is a declaration that humanity can transcend its limitations. The Thalmor know this. Their entire theology says Mundus is a mistake, a prison that trapped divine spirits in their meat bodies. They want to unmake reality itself, return to pure spirit form, and Talos? He's living proof they're wrong. He's validation of everything they hate about existence.
The faction that rules the Aldmeri Dominion. The ones who almost destroyed the Empire during the Great War 30 years back. There's no worse enemy to humankind in Tamriel. The Empire barely survived the last war. The Thalmor don't intend to lose the next one.
So when they ban Talos worship, they're not just playing politics. This is trying to erase the idea that mortals can become gods. They're attacking the fundamental promise of Lorkhan's creation. They're choosing Anu's stasis over Padme's change, trying to freeze reality in a state where ascension is impossible. The Stormcloaks fighting for religious freedom? They're Lorkhan's army, whether they know it or not.
I fight for the men I've held in my arms, dying on foreign soil. I fight for their wives and children whose names I heard whispered in their last breath. I fight for we few who did come home, only to find our country full of strangers wearing familiar faces. I fight for my people, impoverished to pay the debts of an empire too weak to rule them, yet brands them criminals for wanting to rule themselves. I fight so that all the fighting I've already done hasn't been for nothing. I fight because I must.
The Empire enforcing the White Gold Concordat? They're maintaining Akatosh's order even as it strangles them. And you're the only one who can break the deadlock.
It seems I have no choice but to let the Dragonborn decide, although I'm starting to doubt your fairness. What say you, Dragonborn?
Because you're both dragon and man, order and chaos. You're the living proof that these forces can coexist. That maybe, just maybe, the answer isn't choosing one or the other, but finding synthesis.
Do you have no better reason for acting than destiny? Are you nothing but a plaything of Des, of fate?
When you spare Paarthurnax, you're saying change is possible, that even an ancient dragon can overcome its nature through effort. When you kill him, you're enforcing the old law that says nature is destiny. When you join the Stormcloaks, you're championing human ambition. When you join the Empire, you're preserving stability. But here's the secret. Every choice you make shapes what comes next. Because you're not just the last Dragonborn. You're the first of something new, a bridge between the cosmic forces that have been at war since before time began. Akatosh built a prison to protect us. We became the key to break ourselves out. The stone dragon still stands in the Imperial City, a monument to divine intervention, to safety, to stasis, but in Skyrim a new voice echoes from the throat of the world, a paradox, a promise. A Dragonborn who carries both the authority of dragons and the ambition of humanity. The question isn't whether we'll stay in Akatosh's cage. We've already proven we won't. The question is, what kind of world will we build when we finally break free? Because that's what this was always about. Not gods and mortals, or dragons and men, but the fundamental questions of existence. Is it better to be safe and static, or free and chaotic? Is it better to be born good, or to overcome your evil nature through great effort? Paarthurnax knew the answer. The last Dragonborn proved it. And maybe if we're paying attention, we can learn it too. Thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to hit subscribe. Hit that like button, all that good stuff, and click over here because I did a video recently that was all about the Doomslayer and how he's basically just a puppet for the makers. You should check it out. It's actually really cool.